Limestone Cafe.
Jiena Marlin Xikluna nagħtikom merħba fil-programm Maltese Down Under, programm bi produzzjoni kollha kemm mill-belt ta' Melbourne. Fil-programm illum ser niltaqgħu ma' 3 personaġġi li ma jistgħux ikunu aktar differenti minn xulxin. Inġinier tal-mekkanika, xef u awtriċi u artist li jaħdem bil-ħadid. L-ewwel intervista tagħna llum ser tlaqqana ma' Joe Micallef, inġinier tal-mekkanika u President ta' Re-Engineering Australia.
Well, my father was born in 1905 in Arp in Gozo in Malta, and Dad at the age of 19 years of age packed up and came to Australia on a migration program. So 1925 he arrived in Australia, and as a young boy I remember him telling me the stories about digging the foundations of Tarpinu Church in Arp, and also how he cut the stones on his back from the quarry just nearby to build the church. And then he told me about his fishing trips and endeavours at Dwara Bay and where he used to go swimming. So they're my fond memories of Dad coming here. He landed in Western Australia and then worked fencing because he landed during the Depression in 1929. Then he went to South Australia as a fisherman in Port Lincoln. Then he came to Victoria and met my mother, who was Australian, and he married her in Victoria, and he had 3 children. 3 boys,
Yep.
And we're all very, very proud to have a Maltese heritage.
One of the things that people won't know about you is your involvement with F1, but in a sort of slightly different way. Would you like to sort of just tell us about your model cars and your involvement with the competition?
Okay, basically what we do is we have an educational program. This educational program is to help young children all over the world, but we're called Re-Engineering Australia, which is a not-for-profit organisation. Michael Myers, the founder, who founded this foundation back in 1998, put millions of dollars out of his own company money to make it happen. What we're trying to do is we're trying to turn students into global learners. We want them to be worldly people so that they can cope with the new world rather than have just a career here in Australia. This program is for boys and girls. Because it's an F1 car program does not mean it's just for boys. Some of our world champions that we've had, out of the 4 world titles that we've won in Australia, have been with females in our teams. The F1 program is about STEM. It's about science, technology, engineering and maths. And they are the subjects that all governments of all persuasions now all around the world are pursuing, because that's the future, how we're going to survive and how we're going to lead the world if we can progress in those functions. Re-Engineering Australia do the F1 cars. We do paper cars for primary school children, and we do a balsa wood card for secondary school children. I have about 30 teams competing in Victoria. There are 9 to 10 million students in the world who compete every year at a world title. So to be the last 4 or 5 students out of 10 million and win that title is a very, very high achievement. They receive about a $1.5 million scholarship for their schooling.
Wow.
For themselves, not for the school. So there's a real challenge and a real endeavour with lots of schools all over Victoria, Australia and the world to win this title, of which we've won 4 out of 12 in the years since it's been running. Bernie Eccleston, the F1 man himself, who used to be the leader of the F1 program, gets us involvements with Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher. The kids get to meet these wonderful, wonderful heroes in their lives that they see on television. The next thing, they're shaking hands with them and talking technical information. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes McLaren gave us an F1 car to take around Australia and show to the students. So that's how generous the program and the F1 program is to us. We take students every year to the F1s, to the races. It's the technology that goes into the F1 cars that is going to be the future with our cars. all of the new cars where we have a driverless car, where it's all built on new technology, where all the sounds, all of the extra exhaust systems that run through the car are all trialled at the F1 and then implemented. On top of F1 programs, REA has ventured into submarines, and we're into the submarine design for the last 3 years. And currently there's a $50 billion project in Australia, and there's 50 years of work building submarines. So they need many, many engineers with science, technology, engineering and maths background. So we are training those students now through our programs. We also do a 4x4 four-wheel drive program with Jaguar Land Rover, and so they sponsor that. That's a global system as well, and we won the world title last year in July in London when I was there. So we do very well with submarines, F1 racing cars, and also four-wheel drives. Having been a teacher at Victoria University myself in mechanical engineering for 30 years, I know that if you give the students the tools and you don't try and take over their learning, they will show you things that you will not believe.
Around us you've got some great paraphernalia from different competitions, and you've also got in here a great framed jersey from one of the competitions. Can you tell us a little bit about that jersey and why it's so important?
Well, first of all, the jersey is because it was Australia's first world title, and when I first started at Victoria University implementing the program with a grant from the Victorian government, John Brumby gave me $156,000 to commence it in Victoria and involved 10 schools. Over the 12 months I involved 28 schools, and out of that school there were 5 young men from Trinity Grammar who won the world title in London in the very first year of my competition. That shirt was donated to me as a gift to say thank you very much for supporting us and helping us to win a world title.
Oh, that's brilliant. One of the things I'm curious about is what is the age group of the kids involved in the program?
Age group is about 12 to 18.
Okay, so
boys and girls.
Yeah.
Catholic schools, Islamic schools, state schools, private schools, any school, Christian schools, any school that's interested in the program, we take on board because it does not cost them any money to involve themselves in the program unless they compete. And then they have to pay a small fee of a couple of $100 for a booth for the competition.
Yeah, yeah.
But they have to make a car, and this is the car that they make. They have to cut a car out of a piece of balsa wood block,
Wow.
and that car itself is one that they would then race in the competition, and they run at about 80 to 100 kilometres an hour. Primary school students from preps to grade 6 have been involved. I had 5,000 students from Geelong.
Wow.
With the Australian Catholic Universities program and Deakin University. We implemented last year, and it's going to be doubled this year and next year.